Don't you hate it when your stomach feels just a little off? Maybe you ate something that didn't agree with you, or maybe you've got some kind of virus that's going around, or maybe you just have a more sensitive stomach all the time. Well, that can happen to our puppies too. Today, we're going to dig into that topic in more detail. Let's chat about what to look for to see if your dog's digestive system is a little upset, what are some foods for sensitive stomachs, and also how to motivate and reward a dog who might have a limited diet. We're going to cover a lot. Michele here with How to Train a Dream Dog. When your puppy first comes home, she'll probably have a sensitive stomach, just because she's young. This is why we recommend you keep her on the same food she had at the rescue or the breeder. Now you can switch to a new food, but we recommend that you do it really slowly. I want you to gradually add in more of the new food at each meal over a few weeks. Yes, weeks. This is what vets recommend too. When you have a young puppy, you also want to introduce new foods only one at a time, much like you do a baby. This will allow you to watch for any negative reaction. I know you're probably ready to jump into training and you've got your treat pouch loaded with low, medium, and high value treats, just like I recommend in my online course. But at first, start with just one kind of treat and make sure it's okay for your dog's stomach. Oh, and just remember, when your puppy first comes home, she may not eat a lot and may not want any treats. That's not really a sign that she doesn't like them or that they bother her stomach. That's usually more about getting comfortable in her new home. Now you might be asking, well, how do I know if food upsets my dog's stomach? Your dog's lack of communication can be really frustrating, am I right? Well, here's the thing. Your dog is communicating, just not in a way that we usually recognize. Now, when it comes to food sensitivities, here are some things to look for. Number 1. Aversion to some foods. Dogs can remember if they ate something that disagreed with them. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to avoid it if they did, but they might. So if you see a dog turn up his nose at something, it could be a preference, or it could be that he really didn't like the way it made him feel. Now, there's a balance here. We don't want to turn a dog into a picky eater by offering him a buffet at every meal, but we do have to pay attention to what food might make him ill and if it needs to be switched. Oh, and dog food does expire, and it's possible to get a spoiled batch too. That happened to me before. Always store it in the original dog food bag and try to consume it all within 30 days of opening. Number 2. Watch for vomiting after eating, especially if your dog vomits up undigested food. If it's just once or twice, it could just be an off day. If it's consistent, you definitely need to check with a vet and take note of the food that's coming back up. Number 3. Watch the poo, especially if it changes color or consistency. Diarrhea is one of the most common symptoms of food sensitivities. That will alert you to keep an eye on it for a few days or even a few potty sessions. If you have kids, I know you did this when changing diapers. All right, number 4. Watch for gas, and by that I really mean smell. Some chew toys, especially bully sticks, can be hard on a puppy's stomach, and you're gonna smell it. So for some pups, that just means you need to limit the bully stick time to about 10 to 15 minutes at a time. For other dogs, bully sticks might just be completely off the list entirely. Number 5. Now if your pup is experiencing an upset stomach, you might notice that they're a little more hunched over. They might be lower in energy, they might have a hard time settling down, and they might be doing a lot of licking. I can always tell when Pickles isn't feeling well because he licks the floor obsessively. That tells me that I need to pay attention and maybe even keep him confined to a room that's easy to clean up if he gets sick. I also take note of what foods he's had recently to see if I can pick up on any pattern of an allergy or a sensitivity. Okay, let's talk about food here, but just a little bit of it. I really don't do a lot of food recommendations on this channel. I do have one video on food that I can give you for a few basic tips. And also a website that we recommend where you can get more info on how to choose a good quality food. That website can also share with you what the professionals say about raw food versus kibble. Now, you can check out that video here. But today, let me give you some of my favorite human foods that are pretty easy on the stomach and safe for dogs. These include white rice, boiled, boneless, skinless chicken breast, canned or pureed pumpkin, but not the sugary pumpkin filling, mashed boiled carrots, mashed boiled potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes, boiled egg, oatmeal, cottage cheese, watermelon, and banana. Now, I'm not saying these foods will fix an upset stomach, but they might be the ones that you start with if you're trying to find a tasty treat for your sensitive pup. Now, when giving your dog human foods, just remember that these foods need to be in their purest form with no additional salt, sugar, or seasonings. And if you're looking for something at the pet store, I definitely recommend single ingredient dog treats. Now, you can find dried chicken, lamb liver, lamb lung, beef liver, salmon, chicken breast. These are just to name a few. Periodically, I have students in my online course who have a dog that's been diagnosed with some sort of ailment that requires a sensitive stomach dog food. Now, they always ask me, Michelle, what are some creative ways to reward my dog? Well, here are a few good ideas if you're in that situation. First, think about how you can use the dog's own kibble as treats. So changing the consistency of the kibble can make it new and interesting. Here are a few ideas. Number 1, grind up the kibble, add some water, and make it into a puppy mush. Then you can add it to a Kong or spread it on a licky mat. Number 2, you can freeze the kibble, either in the paste form or just in its normal form. Changing the temperature can make a big difference to your dog. Number 3, you could heat it up for a few seconds in the microwave. This can often release a few aromas and make it more enticing for our dogs. Hot water also works, and it can make it softer too. Now, if your dog has some kind of canned food that your vet recommends, you've got even more options. Now, you could add hot water to make it more of a paste. You could heat it up, or you could freeze it in small silicone molds and make it easier for training or fun find-it games. Now, if your vet says okay, you can also consider adding a little pet-safe bone broth or pet-safe goat's milk to these foods for variety. Get those products at the pet store so they don't contain any harmful ingredients like onion or garlic. Sometimes just adding a small amount of a new flavor changes the entire food for your dog. Raise your hand if you love this great info. And if you're loving it, then let us know. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, or leave a super thanks. We love doing these videos for you, and we love hearing from you too. Just remember, raising a dog with a sensitive stomach can be a little challenging. It's a lot harder to detect if they're having a problem than if they pulled a muscle or something more physical. Now, you have to have a keen eye to notice much more subtle behavior changes or aversions to specific foods. When I talk about becoming a puppy detective, this is definitely a scenario where you need to be one. It can be hard to know when to just ride out the symptoms or when to call a vet. If you're looking for a few more tips on how to know when to consult a vet, check out this latest video. Now, you can get some good information on how and when to involve a medical professional. Now, I have just a few more tips for you. Vets may not be experts in dog nutrition, and you may need to consult a pet nutritionist to really learn more about your dog's gut health and the best foods for your puppy. Just remember that training a puppy involves getting creative with the things you can use. Don't forget about praise, petting, and play. Sometimes dogs will work for the sheer excitement of their owner. Now, your body language and your tone of voice give the dog a lot of message about how you're feeling. They are paying attention to it more keenly than you realize. So make sure to put on your whole heart, soul, and body into your communication with your dog. Now, I'd love to hear more about any sensitive tummy dogs we've got in our fan base. So tell me about yours in the comments below. All right, that's all for today from your favorite certified trainer and puppy expert. Until next time.